Hey guys, it's Tana and welcome back to my channel. Before we go any further, I want to announce the winner for November's second giveaway, and that is Letitia Zedavola. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly because I'm in the car for the voiceover. I wrote the winner on a piece of paper and forgot to bring it out with me, but I'll post that on this video here along with my email, and the winner has 48 hours to get a hold of me, or I will have to choose another winner. And sometimes I forget to put it down below, but any physical prizes I cannot ship international. So unfortunately, if there's any international people leaving comments, and you'll just have to wait for when I give away an online gift card, which hopefully I'll be doing in January. I do that every few months or so. So moving along, I wanted to use some of the items from my MFT haul. So I'm using the Reindeer Games stamp set, and yes, I use the coordinating die set. You guys don't see me use coordinating dies that often because I have a thing about the white border around images, but I decided to use them in this video. We're also going to use the tall snow globe die and the shaker pouches for the tall snow globe. And before I forget, I want to tell you guys, I will put some pictures. I have a ton of pictures from my trip with the girls, the crafty girls, to Florida and our Disney adventures and MFT. I won't be able to put too many up, but I figured I could put a few in each video, pick and choose the best ones. I think because it's still before Christmas time, I'm going to show the Christmas trees that we saw at Disney Springs. And each one was decorated with its own movie theme, Disney movie theme, so that was fun. I had a really fantastic time when I went to Florida. I'm so glad I went, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. So I'm not showing you all my coloring here. As you can see, I have most of the images cut out already. I just showed you how I colored one reindeer, a couple of the trees, and now I'm doing a pair of mittens. I did not post colors for this video because the coloring wasn't the main focus. If you are interested in the colors, comment below and I can certainly tell you what colors I used. I'm pretty good at remembering the colors I used unless there was a whole bunch of them. So I'm showing you here, I did make some decorations on some of the mittens. I used a black gel pen and just put a couple stripes on this at the thumb and at the tip of the mitten. Some of the other ones have polka dots. The purple pair there was a tiny snowflake in the Reindeer Games stamp set, and I put that in the center of each mitten. Unfortunately, I don't end up using all these images. I don't use the reindeers at all. Maybe they'll be in another video. And the only mittens I used were the red and the green. So here I am. I'm going to concentrate on making two backgrounds to cut my snow globe shaker middles out of, or my tall snow globe die out of. So for the first panel, we're going to use some ice spruce distress oxide, and I'm just going to blend that into the entire panel. And my panels are both cut down to 4 by 5 1/4, so will have some type of border around them when I put them onto the card base. And the second panel that's coming up in a second is going to be ink blended with Festive Berries Distress Oxide ink. Festive Berries is one of my favorite holiday Distress Oxide colors. I tend to use it often on cards, even if you don't see it in videos. You guys know I make a lot of Christmas cards for the holidays, and it tends to get used a lot. Iced spruce has also become a new favorite of mine. I've learned when using oxide inks to use a piece of paper to put my fingers on because I always end up with ink on my fingers. Now I'm just going to use some Tattered Angels Iridescent Shimmer Spray for the iced spruce panel, and then I'm going to heat set that. And for the Festive Berries panel, I'm going to use Tattered Angels again, but I think it's called Wedding Pink. I'm not sure. It's a pink color, and I'll have it listed below. I got it on clearance at Hobby Lobby. Normally, you wouldn't see me volunteering my money towards a pink spray, or maybe even anything pink, maybe just to have one or two in my stash, but I'm not a pink person. But it was on clearance. I got it for like $1.24, so I picked it up. I'm freezing my butt off in the car, guys. I have to say, doing voiceovers in the car is probably the best soundproof room I will ever get in my household. But with winter coming, it's not really ideal heat-wise. So I just kind of eyeballed where I wanted my snow globe die to go, and then taped it down and ran it through my Gemini Junior. And I did that for both panels at the same time. Excuse me. Better drink my Red Bull before it freezes. And I also used the other part of that snow globe die to cut out what would probably be the wooden base if it were an actual snow globe. And I cut out a couple of each because I wasn't sure at the time how many cards I was making. And now I'm using some of my favorite things, glue tube, to glue that into the panel. I love how it sticks up above the panel and I don't have to use any foam tape. That was really fun when putting these shaker cards together. So now I'm taking the inside of the first snow globe die, the inside that I cut out, the center, and I'm using some tumbled glass distress oxide to just ink blend a sky onto that. And I'm not really being careful about where it's going because we're going to cover up the bottom of that with, I just cut 2 pieces of leftover Bristol with cut a curve into each one to make snowy hills. And now I'm covering the entire thing with Versamark and some, I think it's called Snowflake Tinsel by REINDEER embossing powder. It's like a white, supposed to be snow embossing powder with like silver and glittery tinsel in it. It's really pretty. So I did both of those hills and covered them entirely and heat embossed them. And now I'm trying to decide where exactly that panel is going to go, so I can trace around it with a pencil so I know where I'm adhering it down when I'm all done with it. So now I'm going to use that really thin foam tape I got off of Amazon, really cheap. If you've watched my videos before, you know what I'm talking about. 2 rolls for like $12. And it's super thin, so it doesn't stick up too far off your card, so it comes in handy for stuff like this. The first panel, I did not put it on. I thought it was a foam tape, but it's double-sided tape. I stuck that one down flat to the card, and now I'm gluing 2 of the taller trees from the Reindeer Games stamp set into the background behind the hills. Now I'm going to take that second hill and I am going to use that super thin foam tape on that hill, just so it sticks up slightly further and there's a little bit of added dimension to the card. And lo and behold, it is so thin that it did fit behind that shaker pouch. So don't be afraid to try it out. Now I'm going to take 2 of the smaller trees and glue them right behind the raised hill. And I did have to use a really tiny piece of the thin foam tape on that tree that's sitting on top of the hill, just so that it wasn't pushed down too far on the background. It had to look flat and straight. And then I took that third one and just stuck it down so that it looked like there was a tree in the foreground. And we'll just trim that off of there before we put it back on the card base. Now I'm going all around the back of my card panel that contains the shaker pouch with double-sided 1/4-inch adhesive. And then I put it everywhere that there isn't a piece of that shaker pouch, but where that shaker pouch is, we're going to end up putting glue. Then I'm going to take that My Favorite Things glue tube and glue that center panel piece right down to where I traced with my pencil. And once I'm sure that's on there, I'm going to put a block on it, make sure that it's glued down good. And now I'm going to take a piece of this. This is red glitter paper. It's got adhesive on the back. It's from Tim Holtz's Ideology from a couple years ago. And I just cut that down enough to be sure that that you weren't gonna see any edges of the card behind the shaker pouch. And then, I'm sorry, I'm shaking here, so I'm taking a breath here. Now I'm gonna put some of the colored candy canes and mittens from the Reindeer game stamp set. And then I'm going to take some, I think it's Little Things, Ruby Diamonds, and then some clear iridescent snowflakes from Paper Studio. And I put those all in the center of my card panel there. And now I'm going to take off all the backing from my double-sided now my lips are shaking, guys, adhesive. And then I'm going to put that My Favorite Things glue right along the edge of the plastic shaker pouch to make sure that that stays firmly down on the card base and nothing from my shaker bits leak out. So now for the second one, I'm going to put some cloud circles by Nuvo. Pretty sure it's cloud circles, and they're like really pretty iridescent circles, like confetti sequins, but tinier. And then I'm going to take some more of those clear iridescent snowflakes by Paper Studio and put those in the center. I also put some clear beads and some of these clay snowflakes. Now these came in a Hero Arts stamp set a couple months ago, the retro Christmas one. And I have not used that kit yet, but I remembered I had the snowflakes, so I put a few of those in there. And same thing with that panel with the shaker pouch. Peel off the backing from the tape, put a little bit of glue onto the edge of the shaker pouch itself so it stays down firmly on the card. And then we have two shakers all ready to go. Look how simple that was. So now I'm going to take the two wood bases, and I'm putting a little bit of removable double-sided adhesive on the back of that just so it stays put in my mini MISTI because I didn't want to use a magnet. And because the sentiment I want to use for this one is so long, I'm going to stamp part of it and cover up the other side with a piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean that off and then stamp the rest of that sentiment underneath. Now I did put clear embossing powder over that. I'm using VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink, and the clear embossing powder sticks pretty good to that if you do it quick enough. So here I am stamping the rest of the sentiment right underneath. It did turn out a tiny bit crooked, but not enough for me to want to do that again, so I did not do it again. You also want to be sure you use your powder tool, your anti-static tool, pretty good so you don't have any embossing powder where you don't want it. And now we're going to stamp the other one, and this one was just long enough to be able to fit the entire sentiment across one line. So that's what I did. Same thing, I used my powder tool, I used the VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink, and I used Ranger Clear Embossing Powder. And now we're going to heat set those. And those are all ready to go. I played with popping those up, but decided just to adhere them straight to the flat to the cardstock. So I'm using double-sided adhesive, 2 lines of 1/4 inch and 1 line of 1/8 inch to make sure they were entirely covered. Because you never know, sometimes with oxide backgrounds, sometimes the tape doesn't stick as well. If you want, you could even glue these down with wet glue to be sure they stay in place. So after I did this, I figured they both needed a little something more. So for that first one, I'm taking the little red cardinal, the little bird from the Reindeer game stamp set, and gluing him right in the bottom to the outside of the shaker. And then for this one, I'm using some green holiday stickles. These came in a Simon Says stamp kit last year. And I'm just putting 3 little dots on either side of the sentiment. And then I still felt like it was missing something, so I used some Gold Lux, I think that's what it's called, Dream Drops. And I put 3 small dots in each corner of the card. And that's it for that one. That one's all done. And then for this one, I took a little metallic bow. I had made these for something else and never used them. So it's a red Heidi Swap foil. And it's the little bow that comes with the die, candy cane die from a Simon Says stamp kit from last year. Stuck that to the top of the shaker pouch. And that's it for that card. I hope you guys like what you saw today. I hope you're enjoying the holiday series. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit the notification bell because there will be a giveaway for this month. I hope you guys have a happy, safe week. And if you're doing last minute Christmas shopping, please, please, please be careful. And don't forget, giveaway winner has 48 hours or I will have to choose somebody else. Bye-bye for now, guys.